My neighbor I call Big Bear. He lives in the apartment across the hall. Big arms, quiet eyes, and a voice so deep it makes you forget what you were saying. I always called him Big Bear as a joke. He laughed the first time I said it, and somehow it stuck. We were just neighbors at first. A few friendly nods, some small talk in the elevator. But one night, everything changed. He knocked on my door, and the look in his eyes wasn't neighborly at all. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on notifications. That helps us bring you more intense, emotional stories like this one. I'd seen him almost every day for the past year. Always the same routine. He'd come home from work around 6 p.m., boots heavy on the stairs, flannel shirt rolled up to the elbows, keys jingling as he fumbled with the lock to 4B, right across the hall from mine. I never knew his full name, just that his mailbox read M. Garcia, and that he looked like someone who belonged in the mountains with a dog and an axe, not in a creaky city apartment. I called him Big Bear the first time he helped me carry a package upstairs. "Thanks, Urso," I had said, laughing nervously. "You're built like a damn bear." He'd chuckled, this low, gravelly sound that felt like it vibrated through my ribs, and replied, "Guess I've been called worse." From that moment, it stuck. I'd wave at him from across the hall, say things like, "Evening, Big Bear," and he'd nod with a faint smile or toss a, "Hey kid," my way. He was at least 10 years older than me, mid-30s, maybe older. Quiet, calm, impossible to read. We never really hung out. Until that night. It was just past 11 p.m. when I heard the knock. Not loud, just 3 slow thuds. I paused my music and opened the door. There he was, barefoot, wearing sweatpants and a plain black t-shirt, arms crossed like he didn't know what to do with his hands. "Hey," he said, eyes flicking past me into my apartment. "Hey, everything okay?" He scratched his beard. "You got any duct tape?" I blinked. Duct tape? My shower head exploded. I stepped aside and waved him in. Yeah. I think I've got some in the drawer with all the random stuff." He walked in slowly, ducking a little as if the doorframe might bite him. I tried not to stare at his chest stretching that t-shirt, or the way his forearms flexed as he rubbed them like he was cold. But he wasn't. His skin glistened with leftover steam. He must have come straight from the bathroom. I found the tape and handed it to him, expecting him to take it and leave. Instead, he sat down on the edge of my couch like he was trying to calm something inside himself. "You okay?" I asked, carefully. He nodded, then shook his head. "Not really." I stood there, unsure if I should sit or keep pretending this was normal. "I just needed to be around someone," he said. "And I figured, I don't know, you'd be awake." "Yeah, I'm always up too late." He looked at me then, really looked at me. His eyes were dark, serious, but there was something softer underneath, something that made my chest feel tight. "You ever just get tired of holding it in?" he asked. I swallowed. "Yeah, all the time." He leaned back on the couch, staring at the ceiling. "I go to work. I come home. I keep quiet. I work out. I eat alone. I sleep alone. No one knows me. Not really." I sat down beside him. Not too close, but not far. "I know how that feels," I said. He turned his head slowly toward me. "Do you?" I nodded. "You get good at pretending, smiling, making jokes, hiding things." "Yeah," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Exactly." There was a silence then, a heavy, pulsing silence that sat between us like it was waiting for permission to break. "I've seen the way you look at me," he said suddenly. I froze. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. He continued, "It's okay. I'm not mad." I looked down at my hands. "I didn't mean—" "It's okay," he said again. "I've been looking too." When I finally looked up, he was closer. His eyes searched mine, waiting for something. "I'm not good at this," he said. "Me neither." Then, slowly, like the air itself was daring him to, he reached out and rested a hand against my jaw. His palm was warm, steady. I closed my eyes. "Tell me to stop," he said, his voice low. But I didn't. And then he kissed me. Firm, real, like he had needed to for a long time. And when he pulled back, he rested his forehead against mine and said one word I didn't expect. "Finally." After he kissed me, neither of us moved. His forehead was still resting against mine, and I could feel his breath warm against my lips. His hand stayed on my face, gentle but firm, like he wasn't ready to let go. And honestly, I didn't want him to. But reality always finds a way to creep back in. He pulled back slowly, his eyes still locked on mine, and ran his thumb along my jaw. "I didn't mean for that to happen tonight," he said. "I just couldn't hold it anymore." I nodded, heart pounding. "I'm glad you didn't." He gave a small, quiet laugh, more breath than sound, and leaned back on the couch, looking suddenly unsure of what to do with his hands. I sat beside him, trying to catch up with what I was feeling. Because I had imagined that kiss, more times than I could admit. But I never thought it would actually happen. And now that it had, I was terrified of what it meant. "So," I said, breaking the silence, "was the shower thing real? Or just a cover?" He chuckled, rubbing the back of his neck. "Oh, it exploded for real. Half my bathroom's wet. But maybe I used it as an excuse, yeah." I smiled, the tension between us softening just a little. "You could have just knocked and said hi." He turned to me, more serious now. "I've wanted to knock 100 times. But you're younger, you're sweet, and I didn't want to ruin what little we had. You called me Big Bear, and I played along. But every time you said it, I swear, it made me want things I didn't think I was allowed to want." I stared at him, barely breathing. He looked away. "I guess I've just been carrying it too long. The loneliness, the hiding, the pretending that looking at you didn't make my whole day better." My throat tightened. I wanted to say something, anything, but all I could do was reach for his hand. He let me take it. His fingers wrapped around mine like they belonged there. "I didn't think you saw me like that," I said quietly. "I saw you from day one," he replied. "But I figured, guys like me aren't in the picture for guys like you. You don't even know what kind of guy I am." "I do now." We sat there, hands clasped, both of us stunned by how easy it was and how terrifying. He exhaled deeply. "I've never done this before. Not like this." "Me neither." A beat passed. "I mean, I've kissed," I added. "But not someone who made me feel like this. Not someone I wanted to stay after." He looked down at our hands. "Do you want me to?" "Yes," I said before I could second-guess myself. "I do." He looked back at me like he was trying to memorize my face. "I should go clean up that mess I made," he said, standing slowly. I stood too, almost regretting it. "Yeah, okay." "But," he added, turning at the door, "would it be too much if I asked to come back? Later?" I shook my head. "Come back whenever you want." He smiled then, really smiled, full and warm. "Okay, then I will." He left, and the door clicked shut. I stood there alone, the kiss still buzzing on my lips, wondering how someone could walk into your apartment one night and completely change the way your world feels. He wasn't just my neighbor anymore. He wasn't just Big Bear. He was someone I wanted to know deeper. And maybe, just maybe, someone I was ready to let know me. It started to rain that evening. Not a soft drizzle, but the kind of heavy, steady downpour that made the whole building hum with sound. I stood by my window, watching the streetlights shimmer through the water, wondering if he would really come back, or if I had just imagined all of it. The kiss, the way he looked at me, the way his voice trembled when he said he'd wanted to knock 100 times. The clock ticked past 9 p.m. I wasn't pacing exactly, but I couldn't sit still either. I must have checked the door 5 times, pretending to listen for footsteps. My heart had calmed since he left, but it still felt like something was fluttering just beneath the surface. It wasn't nerves anymore. It was anticipation. And then, 3 knocks. Same as before, slow, heavy, familiar. I opened the door without hesitation. He was standing there in a damp hoodie, a bottle of cheap red wine in one hand and a sheepish expression on his face. "I brought peace offering," he said. "And my plumbing is officially a disaster." I stepped aside, smiling. "You always this dramatic with your neighbors?" "Only the ones who make me nervous." I raised an eyebrow. "You're nervous?" He walked in, shaking water from his sleeves. "Have been since the first day I saw you. You were in a Nirvana shirt and fuzzy socks, and I swear I forgot how to speak for a second." "Fuzzy socks, huh?" Terrifying. I laughed, tension dissolving. He handed me the wine and followed me into the kitchen. We didn't talk much while I opened the bottle and poured us 2 glasses, but there was something easy about the silence now, like we didn't need to fill it. He took a sip and leaned against the counter. "You sure about this?" I looked at him over the rim of my glass. "About what?" "Letting me in. Letting me try." I set the glass down. "I don't think I've ever been sure about anything before, but right now, with you here, it feels real, and I want to see where it goes." He didn't respond right away. He just looked at me, really looked at me, and then nodded, like something inside him finally let go. We moved to the couch again, this time closer. No nerves, just warmth. He took off his hoodie, revealing a snug white t-shirt that clung to his chest like it had been stitched directly onto him. He caught me staring and didn't say a word, just smiled a little and reached for my hand. His thumb ran across my knuckles slowly. "I've spent years pretending I didn't need this," he said. "Didn't need someone. But that night you called me Big Bear, I felt seen. I haven't been able to shake it since." My voice was quiet. "I didn't say it to make fun of you." "I know," he said, turning to face me more. "It was the first time someone looked at me like I wasn't a threat. Like I was gentle." "You are. Not always, but I want to be." He leaned in slowly, giving me time to move. I didn't. Our lips met again, softer than the first time. No urgency, just trust. He pulled back just an inch. "Tell me if it's too much." "It's not," I whispered. We kissed again, and again, until I forgot the rain outside, forgot the clock, forgot the fear. When we finally stopped, we were curled against each other, my head resting against his shoulder, his arm wrapped around me like I belonged there. "I don't know what this is yet," I said softly. He nodded. "Me neither. But I don't want it to be temporary." He kissed the top of my head. then we won't let it be. Outside, the storm began to fade, but inside, something new was finally starting. The next morning, sunlight crept through the blinds, casting a golden glow across the floor. I woke up first, still tangled in his arm, his chest rising and falling steadily behind me. For a second, I just watched him sleep. He looked different like that, softer, younger, even. Not the stoic big bear everyone assumed he was. I stayed like that for a while, just breathing, just feeling. It wasn't a dream. He was here. And everything had changed. But reality has a habit of knocking when you least expect it. And this time, it knocked hard. Literally. Someone pounded on the door. Not a casual knock. Not a neighbor needing sugar. It was firm. Urgent. He stirred behind me, mumbling, "You expecting someone?" I shook my head, already pulling on a hoodie as I got out of bed. I opened the door a crack, and immediately regretted it. Standing there was a woman, late 30s, dark hair pulled back, blazer too sharp for a friendly visit. Her eyes scanned me in an instant, then flicked past me into the apartment. "Is Miguel here?" I blinked. "Sorry. Who?" She raised an eyebrow. "Miguel Garcia. He lives in 4B. Unless I've got the wrong floor." Behind me, I heard the unmistakable creak of him getting out of bed. He appeared beside me a moment later, hair messy, still pulling his shirt down. The second she saw him, her expression changed, from cool to something more layered. Pity? Frustration? Maybe both. "Carmen," he muttered. "You haven't answered a single call," she snapped. "Not even when Dad went back into the hospital." My heart dropped. Family. She glanced at me again, then back at him. "You said you needed space. I gave it to you. But disappearing isn't space, Miguel. It's running." He rubbed his eyes. "Not here. Not like this." She stepped back. "Then call me, or better, call him. He's waiting, and he doesn't have much time left." She turned and walked away without another word. The hallway went quiet again. I closed the door slowly. Miguel leaned against the wall, head back, hands on his hips. "You okay?" I asked. He didn't answer at first. "I told you I was hiding," he finally said. "That was what I meant." I sat down on the edge of the couch. "Your dad?" He nodded. "Stage 4. I left when he got worse. I didn't know how to deal with it." I let the silence hang. Sometimes you need to offer space without words. He walked over and sat beside me, elbows on his knees. "I haven't told anyone else, not even the guys at work. I thought if I stayed quiet long enough, it would all go away." I reached for his hand. But it didn't. He shook his head. "And now I've got you, and this. And I don't want to mess it up, but I feel like the mess is already following me." I squeezed his hand. "Then don't run from it. Talk to him. Go see him. I'll still be here." He looked at me, and something in his eyes shifted. "You would wait?" "I would." He leaned in and pressed his forehead to mine. "You make me feel braver than I really am." "No," I whispered. "You are brave. You just forgot." He smiled, barely, then stood. "I need to call my sister." "Do it," I said, "and maybe pack a bag." He nodded, then kissed my forehead. "Thank you." As he walked toward the bedroom, I exhaled slowly, the tension loosening from my chest. The kiss had started something. But this moment, proved it was more than heat or timing or loneliness. This was trust. And if that meant waiting, I would. Because this man I used to call Big Bear wasn't just a neighbor anymore. He was becoming something much more. He packed that night. A small bag, worn at the edges, just enough for a few days. I sat on the edge of the bed, watching him fold clothes in silence. We didn't speak much. There wasn't much to say. The air was thick with everything we hadn't figured out yet. At the airport drop-off, he stood with the door open, bag over his shoulder. "I don't know how long I'll be gone," he said, eyes low. "I know." He stepped closer. "Don't forget about me while I'm gone." "I couldn't if I tried." He leaned in and kissed me. Not rushed, not dramatic. Just something soft to carry with him. "I'll call," he promised. "I'll wait," I said. And then he was gone. 5 days passed, then 7. On the 8th day, I heard footsteps. A familiar knock. When I opened the door, there he was. Bag in one hand, eyes red, shoulders tired. He didn't say a word, just stepped forward and hugged me. Tight. Like he hadn't realized how much he needed it. "I'm home," he whispered. And in that moment, I knew. Whatever we were building wasn't temporary. It was real. If this story made your heart beat a little louder, take a breath and ask yourself, who would you wait for? And who would wait for you? Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who still believes in connection that doesn't give up, even when it hurts.